Hey guys, welcome back to the United Star. And you've heard what we had to say about the full protest, but we thought why not get a bit of the American side and how people in America, including I, are thinking about this. So, Kevin, we all knew the protest was going to happen. We all knew that the point of it was to tell the Glazers that it's time for you to step out. It's been 16 years of complete money wrenching, whatever they were doing. What's your take on this? Because we've spoken about it. You said no one expected it to go to this level. So, what were your expectations from this protest? And was it all right with the way they invaded onto the pitch, according to you?
Okay, so I guess I'll put all my cards on the table. Anything that I say is of my own opinion. This has nothing to do with any groups I'm part of or anything like that. So let me preface that right off the bat. Second off, I do live in Tampa, Florida. I am a Tampa Bay Buccaneer. So my opinion of the Glazers is not always that of a good one. Whether I know we have people around the world watching, whether how much you know of the NFL, we
Yeah.
do have a salary cap.
Yeah.
There is a max that you can spend every year. There is a minimum you must spend. So the thought of taking money and all that, they cannot take money from. I believe it's Red Football Inc. I believe is the
Yeah.
official holding company
Yeah.
for both entities, both the Buccaneers and Manchester United itself. So they can't do the kind of money taking that they have done and pay themselves giant bonuses.
Hmm.
Not sure if the NFL rules completely on that. They probably can get some bonus of some form, whatever. We'll leave that for another day. Um, so on that side, we have complained about the Glazers in a way because at times they were keeping coaches that should have been fired much sooner. They had incompetent general managers, which for those would basically think of an Ed Woodward type of head. We actually kind of like ours now because he did keep the entire Super Bowl winning team together. So that's good. So that side, there is some the times we don't like them just of how they've handled, but I would say for the United side in the US, if it's real fans, we have the same, if you want to say hatred, whatever you want to call it.
Yep.
For the Glazers, more I would say it's probably them taking the money. The skyrocketing debt. For a little bit there, we were almost fully paid off. So we're like, okay, well, we hate you, but you finally maybe come clean and pay the debt. But the last couple of years they've been paying themselves bonuses for what have you done? You've done nothing at all. And again, you could say, well, it's written into our whatever. Well, no, you're just taking money. I wish I could do that at work. Say, oh, I had a down year and I can take millions of dollars that I don't deserve on that end. But when it came to the test, I mean, again, we've known for about 2 weeks now. We had the smaller one last week when we were away. And then we had obviously the one today. We knew it was coming. It's been said. The club knew about it. It wasn't a secret. I have a problem with people breaking into the stadium because you kind of question, are these real United fans that broke into the stadium desecrating our sacred that's in a kind of a way holy ground to us.
Yeah. Yeah.
You can't step on that field. You
Hmm.
and I cannot step on that pitch if we go and take the tour
Yep.
or we'll be thrown out. So the fact that you're running around on it, taking the corner flag, running around is
Landing
like,
on the goals.
it's like, do you have any idea how many people would pay whatever they could just to take two steps on that field respectfully, just on the corner, on the touch line and go, okay, I've done it. And then you walk back with your
Hmm.
tour group or whatever. But here you are, and then with flares and smoke, you know, it looks like there's not going to be much damage, really, to be honest. Nothing that the grounds crew can't repair quickly, but it's still
Hmm.
that it's the optic
Yep.
of fans, if you will. I'm going to put that in quotes, that were saying this is how angry we are that we have to damage our own pitch in a way Whether they intended damage, and that's questionable. We'll let that go. But I'm all for peaceful protests. Regardless of the cause. Social injustice. They're all valid. Everyone has the right to peacefully protest, and most of the fans outside were doing so.
Yeah.
Yes, there were maybe some words and things used that the Glazers may not want to have heard, but all in all, it's peaceful. There have allegedly been some reports that the police did rough up some people. You can question, like, did someone spark something and the police had to react? Well, that's going to be neither here nor there at the moment. We have no hard evidence on that. So, very surprised though. The last couple of days, you've been seeing, you can see reports on ESPN and the Mirror and everyone, like, there could be a chance the game gets postponed or pushed back. You're like, oh, that's not going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of the day, this is one of the biggest games of the year.
Yep.
When the fixtures come out, what do you look for? When are my Liverpool games? When are my City games? When are my Chelsea games? When are my Arsenal games?
Yeah.
Basically, you definitely want to know when they are. Mm-hmm. And you put those on the calendar, like, oh, do I have to request off to make sure that I'm going to be at that match? We don't know when we're going to get rescheduled. Mm-hmm. It's safe to say the best thing would be to do it tomorrow.
Yep.
Both teams are already still in Manchester. Just get them in tomorrow and up the police presence to make sure nothing happens. It kind of will suck for at least me. I know I will not be able to see the game live just because of work. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I mean, where do we go from here? I guess would be the question. Is we have at least 2 home games left.
Mm-hmm.
Do we have to expect each of these next 2 games something similar? The bus being, for lack of a better term, not able to leave the hotel. Mm-hmm. Both buses, by the way, not just, let the Liverpool bus through and United, you're stuck at that point. I don't think there's been any announced protests publicly, done. Granted, at this point, there probably wouldn't be a publicly announced one because they don't want any chance for the club to try to stop whatever. I mean, at this point, if the club thinks something wouldn't happen again, they'd be stupid. Mm-hmm. They'd have to have, treat it as each game is going to need full, the highest police, game day numbers. They need to be there beforehand. I don't know. It seems like almost like the police come after the stewards and everybody get there because they're not expecting large amounts at first. Again, large presence could cause other issues to occur, but it's kind of safe to say while the Glazers still own the club, stuff like this is probably going to continue to occur. And I don't think the point is almost, do the Glazers care? Because, and I was talking about in our own group about this morning and with other rival fans of ours, their friends. Let's break this down to where we're at. We're second in the league. Mm-hmm. Legitimately, if we had gotten some more draws to turn into wins, we'd be winning the league.
Yep.
Pretty safe to say.
Yeah.
Or definitely at least have a true, real fight.
Yeah. We
are 1 foot in the Europa League final, which should be doable, and we should win the Europa League.
Yeah.
Sponsorships are still there. Mm-hmm. We should probably sign some of the players we want this summer and make a real fight for it next year on all fronts.
Yeah.
That's my thought.
Yeah.
You think the Glazers really care? Mm-hmm. They don't come. I don't remember the last time they were in Manchester.
Yeah. Yeah.
They don't care.
Yeah, it's hysterical because I remember they were bidding adieu to Woodward, saying that we hope you can come to Old Trafford and we'll always welcome you. But he's not been in Old Trafford since the last 2 years. So talking about...
I guess this year it's kind of hard. Nobody's in Old Trafford. Well, no, he'd been there at the beginning of the restart. I remember seeing...
So he wasn't there. It's been 2 years since he set foot in Old Trafford.
I thought I could have sworn during the restart, that we had seen him in the stands, but if he has not been, then
Yeah,
okay.
so when it comes to the Glazers, it's been a while, especially when the Glazers make statements like, I saw 2 years of football and I still don't understand what the offside rule is." I'm like, what kind of owners are you?
Well, with VAR doing it, you must understand what the
That's true.
offside.
That's true. But at the end of the day, you did mention that we are finishing second. We could probably win the Europa League. Um, the Glazers wouldn't do any good by not backing the manager now. We all know that this movement is going to go ahead. A lot of pundits. I mean, you spoke about the fans entering the pitch and just going all over, kicking the ball left, right, and center. Gary Neville was fist bumping them for that. So when you look at it, this is the first time I would say ex-United players are really supporting this movement.
Yeah, I mean, it's always kind of been they'll support it, but they won't say it on camera. Like
Yeah.
they'll sign maybe something green and gold.
Mhm.
One of my friends has a green and gold scarf that is signed by Gary Neville.
Yeah.
I mean, 2 years ago, you'd never get him on camera to say Glazers out. He would probably say, "Well, I have some issues with the family."
Yeah.
But that'd be it. I mean, we have Jamie Carragher
Yeah.
was basically saying there needs to be change. You have a Liverpool, I don't want to say the word legend, basically saying would love nothing more than us to suffer and be in misery for our entire lives, saying something needs to change. And his owners are in no, they're. I can't speak to if they were hated before the ESL.
Yeah.
They're kind of up and down with that on their end. But yeah, I mean, and there have been, again, alleged reports that these supporters were let in by workers at Old Trafford
Yeah.
that opened the door and said the
Please
Munich
go.
tunnel was wide open. Come
Yeah.
on in.
Yeah.
And again, probably if you do work for Manchester United, you are a fan.
Yeah.
Because it's probably not the easiest job to get in the first place. So if you want that, you're probably a fan.
Yeah.
They probably hope that you're not a crazy fan and you're going to do anything while you're working, but you're probably a supporter of the club in some way. So that, I mean, if that was it, like they open the doors for you, let you in, that's a little better than did you break a door down? Definitely if you broke a door down, that's a whole different story because then, there's issues. I mean, are they going to probably ban those fans for life? Probably definitely the guy throwing the tripod. It's probably safe to say he's going to be spending some jail time and going to be banned. Is everybody, it's that kind of a question. Like if you got to punish to a point because then someone might try to do it again, but, it's like, well, I was let in.
Yep.
The door was wide open. I mean, the door to a government building is wide open and they let you walk in. You could say, well, I was let in. You could say, well, you shouldn't have been in there at that point. Well, a steward let me in. One of my, a steward works for the club. They say, come on in. They weren't stopping me. It wasn't like, please stop, but they continued to back away and they didn't, forcefully try to keep me out. That's will we ever get the real answer to that? Probably not, though. It's pretty safe to say most of the people who were trying to get in said, yeah, they were just letting the doors open. Yep. But it does beg the question because right now what we're valued around, what they say they wanted 5 billion or 4 billion, 5 billion,
3 or 4 billion. Yeah.
I mean, we can quickly go down the list. There's not too many people in the world that got that kind of cash.
I agree.
I mean, I know Elon Musk said, he said something, and Conor McGregor said something, which first Conor, you don't even have probably even a couple million, to be honest, much less the billion. And again, we'll say fine. We say it's Musk. We'll just start with him. Do we want another? I don't know if he's really a fan of football.
Yeah.
Would he just go, oh, this is another item?
Yep.
He's probably better than the Glazers to a point, but then we're getting the same boat of, are you basically going to open up the checkbook and we say we want him. Well, that's going to cost me a lot of money. We don't care. Write the check. That's what you're an owner for. That's the only reason you're an owner. Write the check.
Yep.
So that's him. Do we go to the Middle East? I mean, again, my comments are my own. Do you want to get into it with those that have blood on their hands?
Yeah.
And you're going to have that optic of sponsors go, oof, I really don't like you doing business with X, Y, and Z. Because we did hear some rumors that the Crown Prince or another family member of his wanted to make an offer. And yes, he's got the money. There's no question. Does he got the money? I mean, it worked for City, sure. I mean, they went from, a low level to what they are. Now, again, I don't want just a person just to come in and throw money.
Yep.
If you love football and that is your thing, great. But I guess it comes to the point, and I know we've never really talked about this, does the whole league need to change to a 50+1?
Mm-hmm.
I know, a couple of weeks ago we saw, they've announced, Parliament announced a commission or whatever you want to call it to look into this and possible legislation come forward. Well, I don't know if we can go straight to a 50+1 overnight. That kind of takes some time to get there, and there could be, that could on its own could cause issues that we don't want.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, even if you go for 50+1, you're looking at the fans buying roughly 1.5 billion of the shares. And that is not a small amount. And let's say even if season holders go for it, some of them are just dedicated United fans that, even though they aren't doing that well in their career, are still putting in that small amount to get that season ticket. So for our fans to reach that number would be some task, to say the least.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't looked to see what the stock price is at the moment, but I know it's kind of fluctuate up and down. It was up really good once the ESL was announced, which again, that just shows investors don't know that this is going to backfire. Don't do this. And then it went right back down badly. And I think it went below what it was prior to the ESL announcement.
Yeah.
But yeah, that would be a definite investment. I mean, if you would have to get that many shares back from the Glazers. Yeah, I mean, if you have we'll just say that, the 70-year-old United supporter who's been a supporter his entire life, he's retired, and he takes a little bit of his pension every year saying, this is my season ticket. It keeps going up bit by bit as the Glazers get greedy. So even he's got a question, can I even keep afford supporting the club I love by having a season ticket? Now you're kind of asking me to go spend, we'll say, another couple $1,000 or, whatever the conversion will be, just to try to wrest away control to him. And again, he wants to help, sure. But what is he, how much is that really going to change? It's like you'd almost need to have, though, most of these shares being with a group that has United's interest at heart, whether that would be the Manchester United Supporters Trust or whoever has the club's interest first. They don't care about if they make money or how that goes. They just care about lots of shiny objects going into the trophy case and us enjoying football at the midweek or at the weekend. Because really that's what we watch for. We know we love United.
Yep. We
want to see attractive, fun football. We want that 90+ minutes every week to take you away from, the work's been really hard. The kids are screaming. Yep. You're having bill problems. All these, like that 90 minutes, I can go. Things are good. Yep. I can be happy. Yeah. And we kind of, in a way, we had that taken away from us today. Yep. Yeah, and again, for good reason, probably at the end of the day will be a good reason, but it's like tomorrow's Monday, it's back to work, and we didn't have a match that we look forward to for the last couple of weeks. And, we're getting near the end of the season, but, we just didn't have that. So, I mean, it comes to the question is, yes, if we get the Glazers out, immediate first question is, who does come in? I mean, There's not a lot of people really out there that have that kind of money that care, or even if it's multiple people, I don't care. It doesn't have to be one family. It can be, a little corporation of, a couple semi-wealthy
Yep.
people that I know they I remember seeing an article a couple of weeks ago about somebody in the UK. I think he's like the richest guy in the UK who was a United fan. But they think they've asked him every now and then, and he's like, "Yeah, I don't want to do it."
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know where we go from here. To be honest, it's like we know protests are going to keep coming, but are the Glazers just going to sit back and go, "Yeah, this doesn't look good"? But guess what? You can't force us out unless I don't think the FA or the Premier League can step in and say, you've got to go. I mean, if this was the NFL or the NBA or something, they could step in and say, yeah, you're screwing up.
Yeah.
You're gone. You need to sell. You are being forced to sell the club, or your lawyers will be forcing you to do the right thing. And I mean, if the Glazers come out tomorrow and say, we get it. We are actively looking to sell. Here's our asking price, but we would like to have, before any sale or whatever, we would like to form, I don't know, some organization. Again, maybe probably bring in the MUST and basically say, any offer we get to buy the club, we want you to have your opinion of who the owner is, so that it's not
our decision.
We don't get Glazers 2.0.
Yep.
We get rid of the devil we know for the one we don't.
Yep.
But again, that list is pretty short.
Yeah, that's true. When you've spoken about all this, and what resonates with me is if the game would not have been cancelled today, let's say in a hypothetical situation, and Liverpool would have won, God forbid, no one would have remembered the protest, would they? Because Manchester City would have been crowned champions. Liverpool would be pushing for, Champions League, and or for all that's left for us is Europa League. So idly, while I do understand the sentiment of, we missed those 90 minutes, I'd just say go back and watch the AS Roma game and enjoy it.
Right. I mean, and again, I guess it's almost that level of, right, if we had lost, God forbid, I don't expect us to. I mean, you look at the lineup we were putting out there. I know that'll be for another video, but that was the lineup you'd expect to put out there. And Liverpool they're not doing anything right now. They're where they're at, and that's where they're going to stay. This should have been a win. Should have been a win. Get ready for Thursday. Get a goal or two away, and put your feet up until the weekend. Yep. But right, that definitely does. Because initially, that's what they said. Like a 2-hour delay, and then we'd be playing the game. But yeah, if they did play the game, and we had lost, the protest would have been a footnote. Yep. It would have been talked about a little bit, but it would have been wall to wall on Sky of City celebrating and is the power completely on the blue side, and is United ever going to come back? Yada 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 yada. Who are they going to sign in the summer? And then the protest gets buried for a little bit. So it is, in the end, it is probably very good that obviously the game was postponed. And again, for good reasons too. We don't know, did someone, I was listening to some of the other podcasts, did someone maybe break some glass and left in the grass along a touch line or by an advertising board? You don't want a player to go down, be injured, and good job. We'll just say Bruno's out for the year because he slashed his leg real bad on something, or they put something to disrupt the game. Or even if they started the game, who's to say fans would not have tried to come into the field as well? I mean, the league is still not set if they're going to do anything. It sounds like considering they said postpone. Yep. They're not going to. You kind of, we're going to get a nice, long worded, don't ever do this again statement. But I mean, I guess we just don't know. I mean, it's like we've never had to get to this level of protest. We get a banner being flown over. Yeah. We get some chants directed at Ed.
Yeah.
But
That makes sense, because if you look at it in like a week's time, we've had three protests. You mentioned the first one. There was a second one at Carrington where they broke
oh yeah,
in.
yeah,
The third one being now. So it's pretty evident that we all want Glazers to leave. But what next? I mean, we can keep protesting and being like, we want you guys to leave, but we can't be canceling each and every game and aiming to do that. Uh, I get that they cancel the biggest game there is, as you mentioned, and obviously, if this was a Southampton Manchester United being cancelled, no one would care. They'd be like, it's
yeah,
just another
yeah.
fixture. But because it was the biggest thing. But what I want to understand from you as one of the last things is, uh, when I look at like NBC or any US oriented sports channel, they're calling this a humiliation for the fans and XYZ. Do you guys take it the same way? Do you guys think that the protest can come down to just us entering the ground and that's it? Because I just think the Glazers may have paid them off and said just highlight it in a bad way for the US people.
You hope not, right?
Hmm.
Because, and I listen to some other podcasts, which I won't mention here, that do United. I think some of them had their people there as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
That I understand, like Sky was being very, oh my God, look at what these fans are doing. It's
Hmm.
horrible. Lock them all up. This is a disgrace upon the club. And you had Gary and others going, no, I'm going to say what I want to say. Am I going to get fired for it? Fine. If I get fired, I don't need the money. This is not the fans disgracing the club. Obviously, they did it in a way that we didn't want. I mean,
Right.
the entering the pitch, I think, is the problem. Like if they had just kept it outside the stadium,
Hmm.
that's one thing. I think there is a little bit of an issue of you had fans violating the pitch in a way coming on. Again, whether they were let in willingly by employees, that kind of lessens the blow. And at the pub, NBC, there were there's people talking, so you couldn't hear as much how NBC was doing it, but NBC did kind of seem to be a little of, well, we don't want them to be doing this. They shouldn't be doing it this way. And again, that's to a point. They got shareholders too.
Yeah.
They can't be saying, Rebecca and them cannot be saying, good on you fans. This is what you need to have done years ago.
Hmm.
They got jobs. They got families too. They know they have a producer in their ear saying, here's what you need to be saying. We don't care what exact words, but these are the tones we want you to be saying, regardless of your own personal feelings. I don't know exactly, the NBC, announcing crew, like who do they support, who do their families support, and all those types of things.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any United fans per se on that board, but it's like any media, that, and we could go on multiple topics. Like a media is going to tell you what they want you to think.
Hmm.
I I disagree with the fans going on the field. I don't know if that's going to make the change. I mean, maybe it is the shock that was needed to really get changed. Like, okay, we're tired of just saying, love United, hate Glazer.
Yep.
Glazer out. Go on Twitter, do all these things. Do you finally need that? We're here. We're tired of it. Get out.
Yeah.
And there's one last thing, and one of our his Liverpool fan, he had mentioned we never really seemed to care about the Glazer problem when we had Sir Alex.
Yeah.
Because we were winning, we had that level, and I don't know if, considering since Sir Alex has left, obviously the on-field play has diminished. So we're not winning. Winning cures all pain. So I don't know if this has just been the final straw with the ESL and everything else. And like, again, no one could take over Sir Alex. I mean, it's impossible. But the whole gradual decline, does that give more voice to the Glazers out? Because we blame them, because we don't want to blame the players. We don't want to blame the manager as much as we obviously blame Van Gaal and others. I just, again, I don't. It does seem like the media is going to probably focus on, look at these hooligans. This is horrible. This is a disgrace to United, because like you said, more and more former players, they are supporting what was done. And even there was a report, that I believe it was Matic, Shaw,
Bruno
and
and Maguire.
wanted to meet with the fans outside.
Yeah.
Probably not today. It's probably not the safest thing, but and again, that's good. I mean, whether that will, give the Glazers, like, you've got your own current employees, for lack of a better term, they're with the mob
Yeah.
outside. Do they really care Glazers in or out in the grand scheme of things? They want to play. They want to play for the badge. They want to be with the fans who pay the money. I mean, something's got to happen. I don't see the Glazers selling, as much as that's be the easiest thing is for them to sell. But at the end of the day, they're businessmen. Are they just going to go, yeah, it's the cost of doing business,
Yeah.
and nothing changes?
Yeah, I agree. It's similar to 2005 when we had our protests back then. I mean, it's just on a bigger scale, and it's not just us. If we look at Arsenal, I think Arsenal are having another one on their Europa night today, and that could be another thing altogether. But any parting words on how you think we should act? Like one of our fellow colleagues in our group said that the best way to go about things would be to boycott the merchandise, or to just stay away from putting money into the club. What do you think would be the best solution from your onwards?
I definitely agree with that. As I'm wearing a kit at the moment. Now, granted, this was the Black Lives Matter one, so there's a different reason why I'm wearing this one. Definitely that. I mean, most matches I wear an MUFC Tampa shirt.
Mm-hmm.
I just do. I haven't bought other than buying this kit, last year, I haven't bought a new kit in a couple years. And in a way, yeah, I mean, everyone likes new merch. I mean, new kits come out. Oh, I like it. Well, the problem is, the money is going to the Glazers' pockets. Now, a little bit's going to other, there's the workers and the company that makes them and all that fine stuff. Sure. But most of that money is going to the Glazers. So in a way, yeah, I mean, I think that would be, they always say, how do you hurt somebody the most? You hurt them in the pocketbook.
Mm-hmm.
So if you don't buy the kits, you don't buy the shirts, you don't buy hats, merch, any of that. I know some people say, well, just don't watch the games. I'm not going that far, because, again, the games are one of those like me not turning on the TV and watching the game. Is that really are the Glazers going to know that Kevin did not watch, Man United Liverpool on May the 5th? No, they're not going to know that. But so, I mean, I don't think that's going to make any difference, because most of that's money is NBC. That's not going to be. Oh, and I don't, right now I'd say, do fans show up to games? But we really kind of can't show up to games at the moment anyway. But definitely, I think the main thing is, don't buy merch right now. And I get it. Oh, I really, so maybe a little kid, he wants his first jersey. I get that. He can wait. Or, don't buy, if you can buy it from some other means that the money's not going to them. I know you really can't make your own stuff. It's all copyrighted. But there are the offshoot companies that will make knockoffs that it's not perfect, but you kind of still get the thing. So yeah, I think that's kind of probably where we need to go right now with it is, don't buy merchandise. Don't re-up your membership to, to the, the United the United membership and all that, because really most of that money doesn't, again, like, it doesn't really go to it is going to the Glazers. I mean, as you could say, well, it's these little bits and pieces. Well, guess what? That's how you see, well, we had 10 million subscribers worldwide or whatever of it, and now it's down to 1 million.
Yeah,
that's a lot of money. And the Glazers at the end of the day, they look at they're businessmen. They
Yeah.
look at this, they look at the accounts and go, oh, we made X last year, we're making Y now.
Yeah.
Have we done anything stupid in the last year? Well, it was an ESL thing we did, and you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
and well, we bought 15 players. Yeah, but we won 5 trophies entering that, so that money flowed. So I mean, I think that's really what we can do as fans is, just kind of boycott the merch. Don't buy the new, don't buy new merch. If you want to be one who says I'm not going to watch games, so they know, go ahead. I don't really think that's going to make much of a difference. Maybe not having the MUTV subscription, let that go,
Yeah.
because that is clearly outright them, but not showing up to a pub on a Saturday is not something I'm going to do,
Mhm.
because NBC's already got paid regardless. I mean, that's contract stuff. Like, they pay the same no matter what the thing is. Really, this doesn't come down to, oh, viewership's down, we're going to renegotiate this on the next contract.
Yeah.
But they get it, what's happening.
Yeah, I completely agree with you, especially like, at the end of the day, I hear Adidas has an issue with the sponsorship and how things are going. And if we hear the stuff like Adidas is pulling out, obviously that hurts us as a club, but at the same time, it hurts their pockets. And I'm 100% sure after today's cancellation, United's stock market will also drop by a certain amount when, the markets open on Monday. So the best place to hit them is in their checkbooks, and that's how we should go. But thank you, Kevin, for coming on. It's great to get a perspective, from someone who's within Tampa, who knows, the Buccaneers and how things have been handled by the Glazers out there as well. Do let us know what you guys think in the comments below. Until then, bye bye.